going on, movie lovers? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. This is Comic Hero Talk, where we break down some of the biggest movie news stories going on in the world of comic book movies. I am Jacob Bartley, and today I'm here to talk about the reveal that Fox and Joss Boone and the X-Men franchise, they're planning on doing a trilogy of horror movies within the X-Men universe. Some of you may have saw the New Mutants trailer that came out last week, that came out last Friday. And it kind of caught people off guard because they said this was going to be a horror movie, but nobody thought it was going to be a straight up horror movie. And that's what the New Mutants is. And even though it's kind of, off the rate, like just very off when it comes to comic book movies, I dug it because I love the variety of comic book films that we're getting nowadays, especially from Fox with Deadpool, Logan, stuff like that. And they're continuing that streak with giving us the New Mutants, which is going to be, which it looks like a young adult straight up horror film. Can't wait for that. But Josh Boone, he was speaking with IGN, and he had a few comments to say about the way he pitched New Mutants to Fox and how he pitched it as a trilogy of horror films, which are going to not necessarily be, it doesn't sound like they're going to be direct sequels. It sounds like they're going to be kind of anthology films. Maybe they're direct sequels, but he made it clear that they're going to be very different. Here's what he had to say while speaking with IGN. We brought it to Fox as a trilogy of films, really all based on that long run by Sinkwitz, totally mispronounced that name, and kind of incorporate some stuff from later issues in the 80s. These are all going to be horror movies, and they're all going to be their own distinct kind of horror movies. This is certainly the rubber reality supernatural horror movie. The next one will be a completely different kind of horror movie. Our take was just to go examine the horror genre through comic book movies and make each one its own distinct sort of horror film, drawing from the big events that we love in the comics. First of all, that sounds great. Considering that I love this first New Mutants trailer, just hearing Joss Boone say that they could potentially have two more X-Men horror films that could probably have some of these same characters in it, that sounds great to me. Now, of course, the first New Mutants has to be successful financially first and foremost, but it also has to be successful among the critics, among the fans. If not everyone loves it, but it makes a ton of money, then they'll make another one for sure. But I just think this is very promising in the comic book genre in general because, like I was saying earlier, it's refreshing to get different stuff from a genre that's kind of just blowing up. Not just blowing up, but it has been the mainstream for almost a decade now, and it's the genre, so it has to adapt. It can't stay the same. And Fox is doing great things to make sure that happens. Like I said, Deadpool, Logan. And now this New Mutants movie is going to be very different from any other superhero movie we've ever had. So Josh Boone went on to go say this with his interview with IGN. Our whole pitch for this series was based on Bill Sinkwitz' run with Chris Claremont, The New Mutants Volume 1, number 18 to 31, 35 to 38. So it's very much New Mutants became dark and surreal and more horror-driven. We were incredibly inspired by the Demon Bear story, which is probably the best well-known New Mutant story. We also drew on movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Stephen King stuff, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. To add on to how amazing this sounds, they added One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to this. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, and that movie takes place in a closed setting in a psychiatric ward, and I have a feeling that's what he means by this, that this movie takes place in this house where they keep mutants. It's kind of like a psychiatric ward for mutants. It's going to be a closed setting. All the events are going to take place in this house for the most part, and who knows what's going to come about of that. It could, what's the plot going to be? What are the characters going to be? What's going to be the motivation for the characters? How are they going to develop when it's in such a closed setting? I'm really curious to find that out. I just think this is great for the comic book genre overall, and just for movies, because as a movie fan, how can you not be excited with a horror comic book film? Even if you're not a comic book movie fan, maybe you're a horror movie fan, this is going to draw in a horror audience. So it's all good all around. All right, well, that's going to do it for my thoughts on the recent news that X-Men and Fox and Joss Boone are planning a horror trilogy starting with the New Mutants. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this news. Are you excited about this? Do you want comic book movies to just stay in the same generic type of comic book movies that we've always been getting? Let me know in the comment section. Again, I'm Jacob Bartley for Apocalypse Movies. This is Comic Hero Talk. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.